Hey, this is Mansab, and you are listening to Simply Wild. You know, I always been that guy, the one who loves a good story. I started as a writer, then became a wildlife researcher, and out there in the field seeing incredible things, I realized something. So many amazing stories, especially from wildlife, history, and nature, they get locked up. So that's why this podcast exists. Here, history gets wild, and the wild gets a history. Now, for today's wildlife and history adventure. What was the ultimate symbol of an emperor power? Was it glittering jewel, a mighty fortress, or was it something else entirely? Something alive, with keen eyes and deadly talons, perched on the royal glove. Today, my friends, we fly with the magnificent sky hunters of the Mughal Empire. Namaste, Adab, and a very warm welcome. You are here for Simply Wild, and this is our wildlife and history series, where incredible animals aren't just the background, they are the story. Today, we are soaring into the world of royal falconry. This isn't just about a bird and a hunter. This is a story of obsession, of art, and of high stakes diplomacy, and the incredible bond between the most powerful men in India and the most formidable predators of the sky. When you think of a Mughal emperor like Akbar or Jahangir, what comes to your minds? Grand courts, epic battles, massive fortress? But what if I told you that one of their most profound passion, a practice central to their identity as rulers, was a partnership with a bird? We are talking about falconry. And in Mughal India, this was not just a hobby, it was an art form, a science, and a crucial political tool. It was a direct link to their central ancient nomadic heritage, a throwback to their ancestors like Taimur and Genghis Khan, for whom hunting with the birds of prey was way of life. For a Mughal emperor, a prized falcon perched on his gloved fist was more than just a hunting companion. It was a living symbol of his power, his reach, his ability to command and control the wildest, fiercest aspect of nature. It was, in very real sense, a living ground. So, falconry was a massive deal. But what did it actually look like? And how did emperors like Akbar the Great turn this royal passion into a meticulously organized state department? That's coming up next. The royal hunt or shikar was a spectacular affair. But a hunt with falcons? That was the display of pure skill and precision. In the previous episode, we did see how the hunting was done with the royal hounds. But let's imagine the scene again. The emperor and his nobles, mounted on fine horses, moving across the plains. A courtier holds the prized falcon, its head covered by a small leather hood to keep it calm. A target is spotted, a heron, a duck, or a crane. The hood is removed. The falcon's incredible sharp eyes lock onto its quarry, and then it is released. It doesn't just fly, it explodes into the sky, climbing at an astonishing speed, becoming a mere speck, positions itself high above the target, and then it dives, a controlled, breathtaking plummet at speeds that can exceed, get this, 300 kilometers per hour. The falcon strikes its prey midair, often killing it instantly with the force of the impact. It was a display of natural weaponry, harnessed by a human training. Emperor Akbar the Great, by all accounts, was completely obsessed with this. He wasn't just a casual participant, he was a connoisseur and a master organizer. His court historian Abul Fazl wrote in Ain Akbari that Akbar had an entire imperial department dedicated to his birds of prey. It was a serious state-run operation, much like elephant stables we discussed before. There were different categories for his falcons, hawks, and eagles. There were official trainers and keepers. There were detailed rules on their care, their diet, and their training. Akbar, a man famous for his administrative genius, applied that same meticulous detail to his passion for falconry. He turned a royal hobby into an institution. Akbar organized it, but his son Jahangir took the obsession to a whole new level. He wasn't just a practitioner, he was a naturalist and an artist. So, how did this passion forever immortalize these sky hunters in the pages of history and art. That's coming up next. If Akbar was the great organizer of falconry, his son Jahangir was its great publicist. Jahangir was a man of a deep curiosity, a true naturalist. He didn't just fly his birds, he studied them, documented them, commissioned his finest court artists to paint them. This is where the story gets really beautiful. We have these exquisite Mughal miniature paintings from his reign. They are not just generic portraits of birds, they are specific individual portraits of his favorite falcons. One of the most famous is a painting of the master artist Ustad Mansur of Jahangir's prized Sakir falcon. The painting is so detailed, so full of characters, you can feel the bird's pride, its fierce spirit. The emperor valued this bird so much that he commanded his best artist to paint it, preserving it for all time. These paintings were testament to the deep personal connection between the emperor and his sky hunters. They weren't just tools, they were treasured individuals, and this value directly translated into politics. A prized, well-trained falcon was one of the most prestigious diplomatic gifts you could give or receive. Sending a rare falcon to another king wasn't just a friendly gesture, it was a message of respect and power. It was like a gifting a state-of-art fighter jet today. It showed that you had access to the best, that you mastered the wildest forces of nature. The pecking order, pun intended, of kingdoms was sometimes literally decided by the quality of your birds of prey. So the falcon was weapon, an art form, a diplomatic tool, and a symbol of imperial power. It seemed like its place in the royal court was as secure as the emperor on his throne. But as the Mughal Empire itself began to face new challenges and eventual decline, what happened to this intricate, expensive, and the time-consuming royal tradition? That's coming up next. Like many grand imperial traditions, the golden age of Mughal falconry couldn't last forever. As the Mughal Empire began to weaken after Aurangzeb, the resources, the stability, and perhaps even the will to maintain such elaborate and expensive courtly traditions started to dwindle. The grand imperial hunts became less frequent. Then, with the rise of British influence and the eventual establishment of the British Raj, came a different culture of hunting. The British preferred their shikar with firearms, shooting game birds, hunting big game like tigers from elephant back. While some British officers did take up falconry, it never held the same central, almost spiritual importance that it did in the Mughal court. It was seen more as a quaint local pastime rather than the sport of kings. The intricate system of training and patronage that emperors like Akbar and Jahangir had established slowly fell apart. The knowledge passed down through generations of mere shikars, chief hunters, began to fade. The sky hunter, once the symbol of the emperor's all-seeing eye, slowly lost his place of pride. And speaking of how our perception of animals changes over time, next time on Simply Wild, from high art of falconry, we dive into high comedy. Next time we investigate how a magnificent Indian bird was possibly denied a national glory because of its name, and what now extinct creature was essentially called a fool by the sailors who discovered it. Its quirky and surprisingly sad look at the power of name. From a living weapon on an emperor's fist to a fading memory of bygone era, the story of the Royal Falcon in India is a powerful tale of power, art, and the shifting tides in history. There is always more to explore, but that's our expedition for today on Simply Wild. Keep exploring, keep wondering. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you hit follow or subscribe on whatever app you are using so you don't miss our next expedition, and keep it Simply Wild, dosto. Until next time, this is your host Mansab, signing off. I would love to know what you thought of this episode. You can find me on Instagram at simply.wild.podcast. That's simply.wild.podcast to continue this conversation. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in next episode.